The AGC is our annual giving campaign, and it's unique in the fact that your donations support the activities in the year that the donations come in. This is not something where money's donated and it's collected over time to pay for a big project. This is something that we can actually pay for the small things that benefit so many.
There's students with different, who have different intellectual abilities, so being able to address not just the ones who might be struggling learners, but who are advanced learners, and being able to get, not just equipment, but access to materials that you can help with the more advanced learners and the struggling learners.
We try so hard to integrate our language arts and social studies curriculum, and one way to do that is through book clubs, whether they be historical fiction books that take place in the time or with the issues or the concepts that we're studying in social studies. Again, there's so many of these books that come out, throughout the year, and when we hear of a title, we're like, oh, we want to add that to this, our unit coming up. Being able to access that and buy a book club set of those right away, right then when we need it, is very helpful.
We have students who are varsity level basketball and soccer and volleyball players, and we also have students who come into PE who just want a recreational workout. We also have content that's delivered in PE. Students need to know how their bodies work and how to make them work better. And so you've got a real diverse group of learners on top of movers. Here at the AGC grant that we have received in the past has really helped us to add more equipment for a population of 400 kids who are taking PE currently.
What the AGC funds enable me to do is to make sure their school supplies, you can't tell who has or who doesn't have. Their school supplies level the playing field. They have similar binders, pencils. They're just their basic school materials.
I appreciate having the ability to buy something as soon as possible. For example, this vibraphone we purchased, we were able to start using it right away. It used to be in jazz band, if you weren't playing a drum set, you didn't have a whole lot to do. But now, since we have the vibraphone and it's in the jazz style, we can have a kid playing drum set, we can have a kid playing vibraphone, we can have a kid playing congas and a kid playing bongos, and they're learning such a wider view of that style. Because if you can find that thing that kid becomes really excited about, then they really become a musician and not just a kid in the band.
Because of the AGC, a lot of my kids know how to create things on technology with the iPads, and they've really gotten involved in some really cool projects, creating documentaries or public service announcements about global issues and things going on in our world, and for them to feel like they are global citizens. And it's something that I feel is so important for kids to know, that there's a world outside, Ballard or Whitman Middle School. And because of the AGC, we've been able to expose them to that when it comes to reading the books, but also doing some end projects with the iPads and the technology.
I have a classroom set of geomodels, so I received funding for 10 of these kits. And we use these in geometry. So each of these is a 3D object, and specifically what I used it for this year was to investigate the relationship between the volume of a cone and a cylinder. They've got that hands-on learning and that memory, so when they're trying to recall that formula, they can think back to the hands-on experiment that they did.
Some kids are just totally different kinds of learners, and some kids really like the kinesthetic kind of learning where they're hands-on. Some kids, get the most out of it when they're writing about it. But the real trick is to have, I think, enough equipment so that they can all be engaged. The district provides us with 4 scales per classroom. And if you have 32 kids in a class, which we often do, trying to use 4 different scales, they have to wait in line. And 13-year-olds waiting in line for a long time is not a good idea in a science classroom. And so if you have 8 scales, or 1 at every table of 4 kids, then they can all be working and they can all stay engaged, and it just works so much better. Because of the AGC, my students get to do science instead of read about science.
Because of the AGC, I really am able to instill the love of reading in my kids.
Because of the AGC and the resources I've purchased with the funds, my kids are more interested and invested in their learning.
Because of the AGC, we have a great room full of functional equipment that serve 400 students, and we're so thankful.
Because of the AGC, all students can be ready to perform in the classroom.
For our AGC, your donations, no matter how small or how large, will benefit our students in unique ways, but it benefits our diverse population in many ways.
Thank you for your generous donations to the AGC. Your generosity serves children throughout our entire school and enhances their education.
So I would just like to say thank you to all of the AGC donors, and to let you know that it really does make a difference, not only because of the physical things that we're able to get for our library, but also as a teacher, it's really nice to know that we're not in this alone, and to know that our parents are supporting us, and they're supporting us in many different ways, and it means a lot to us. So thank you.
I feel so fortunate to be in a school where we have a parent body that is so generous and willing to support all of our students, not just their own. They wonderfully support their own student, but they're willing to share with all of our students, and we are so lucky to have that, and I thank you for that.
To everybody that contributes to the AGC, we couldn't do this without you. It makes all the difference in the world. Thank you.